Every challenge we face in life is an opportunity for growth. When things don't go as planned, when disappointments come, when we experience hardships, it's easy to get discouraged and wonder why we have to go through these difficulties. But the truth is, we grow the most not in the easy seasons, but in the challenging ones. Just like a seed has to be buried in the soil before it can sprout, we often have to go through dark places before we see the light of God's blessings. Those tough times are not there to defeat you, they are there to develop you. Think about how muscles grow. If you want to get stronger physically, you have to lift heavier weights, push through resistance, and sometimes even feel sore afterward. That soreness isn't a sign of damage, it's a sign of growth. In the same way, when we go through difficulties, we might feel stretched, uncomfortable, or even broken at times, but that's when God is strengthening our faith, building our character, and preparing us for what's ahead. The challenge is not there to break you, it's there to make you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next level of your destiny. Joseph went through years of trials before he stepped into his calling. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. He could have given up. He could have become bitter. But instead, he kept trusting God, kept growing in character, and kept doing the right thing even when the wrong thing was happening to him. What he didn't realize was that every trial he faced was preparing him to be the leader God had called him to be. By the time he was promoted to second in command of Egypt, he had the wisdom, strength, and experience to handle the responsibility. If he had never gone through the hardships, he wouldn't have been ready for the blessing. The same is true in our lives. Sometimes we pray for blessings, for promotions, for influence, but we don't realize that with greater blessings come greater responsibilities. God won't take you to a new level without first preparing you for it. The challenges you're facing today are not meant to stop you. They are meant to equip you. Every difficulty is an opportunity to develop patience, resilience, and faith. If you're in a tough season, don't focus on the problem. Focus on what God is doing in you through it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this situation make me better instead of bitter? Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when we push through adversity, when we trust God in the middle of uncertainty, and when we keep believing that He is working all things for our good. If you stay faithful, keep a good attitude, and continue moving forward, you'll look back one day and realize that what you thought was a setback was actually a season of preparation. The challenge you're facing today is shaping you for the victory that's coming tomorrow. How we handle disappointments determines how quickly we step into the blessings God has for us. Life will always bring unexpected challenges. Situations where things don't go as planned, where doors close, where people let us down. In those moments, it's easy to get discouraged, to let bitterness take root, or to start questioning God's plan. But the attitude we choose in times of difficulty is what shapes our future. A heart that remains positive, grateful, and full of faith, even in tough times, is a heart that attracts blessings. It's easy to be thankful when everything is going our way, but true faith is when we can praise God even in the middle of our struggles. In the Bible, Paul and Silas were thrown into prison for doing God's work. They had every reason to complain, to feel sorry for themselves, and to let disappointment steal their joy. But instead, they chose to worship. They started singing praises to God in the middle of their darkest moment. And what happened? Suddenly there was an earthquake. The prison doors flew open and their chains fell off. Their praise in the midst of the trial led to their breakthrough. That's the power of a positive and grateful heart. When you face disappointments, you have a choice. You can either let it make you bitter, or you can use it as an opportunity to grow, to trust God more deeply, and to keep believing that something better is coming. What you magnify in your life will determine your perspective. If you focus on what's wrong, on what didn't work out, on what you lost, then discouragement will take over. But if you shift your focus to what you still have, to the blessings that remain, and to the fact that God is still in control, your faith will begin to rise. King David went through many trials, but one thing that set him apart was his heart of gratitude. Even when he was being chased by King Saul, even when he faced battles, even when he made mistakes, he always turned back to praise. He wrote in Psalm 34:1, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. That means in the good times and the bad, in the victories and the struggles, he kept his heart focused on God's goodness. And because of that, God called him a man after my own heart. Your attitude in the waiting, in the challenges, and in the disappointments is shaping your future. If you keep a grateful spirit, if you refuse to complain, and if you keep trusting God, you will step into the blessings He has prepared for you. The closed doors, the delays, and the setbacks are not meant to stop you. They are setting you up for something greater. Keep your heart right, stay in faith, and believe that what God started in your life, He will surely finish. Your breakthrough is coming, and the best is yet to come. No matter what disappointments you have faced, no matter what setbacks have come your way, your best days are still ahead of you. It's easy to think that because something didn't work out, because a door closed, or because you went through a difficult season, that life will never be as good as it once was. But God is a God of restoration. He never takes something away without having something better in store. The loss, the heartache, the failure, none of it was the end of your story. It was simply a chapter, and God is still writing your future. Sometimes we get so caught up in what we lost that we fail to see what's coming. We dwell on the past, replaying what went wrong, thinking about how things could have been different. But living in regret will only keep you from stepping into the new blessings God has prepared for you. Isaiah 43:18. Now forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive? God is always working on something new in your life. What He has ahead of you is greater than anything you've left behind. Look at Job. He was a righteous man who lost everything: his wealth, his health, and even his family. If anyone had a reason to give up, it was him. But Job didn't let his disappointment turn into defeat. He stayed faithful, he kept trusting God, and in the end, God restored everything he had lost and gave him twice as much as before. If Job had given up in the middle of his struggle, he would have missed out on the double portion that was waiting for him. The same is true for you. Maybe you've been through a season of difficulty, a time when things didn't go as planned, but that is not the end of your story. God has something greater coming. The closed doors, the disappointments, and the delays were not to stop you. They were to prepare you for something bigger than you imagined. You have not seen your greatest victories yet. You have not accomplished your biggest dreams yet. You have not accomplished your biggest dreams yet. What God has planned for your future will far exceed anything you have seen in the past. The key is to keep moving forward. Don't get stuck in disappointment. Don't let bitterness take root. Don't settle where you are. Keep believing, keep expecting, and keep trusting that God is working all things together for your good. The best relationships, the best opportunities, the best blessings, they are still ahead of you. When one chapter closes, God is already preparing a new one, filled with greater joy, greater favor, and greater purpose. Keep your faith strong, keep your heart open, and get ready, because your best days are still to come. No matter what you have been through, no matter how many disappointments you have faced, your story is not over. Too often, when we experience loss, failure, or unexpected setbacks, we start believing that our best days are behind us. We think that because a relationship didn't work out, because a job opportunity didn't come through, or because life took an unexpected turn, we'll never experience the same joy, success, or fulfillment again. But the truth is, God never allows a disappointment unless He has something greater in store. What you lost, what didn't work out, what seemed like the end, it was not the end of your story. It was just a chapter, and God is still writing the rest. It's easy to focus on what went wrong and to live in regret, thinking about how things could have been different. But living in the past will only keep you from stepping into the future God has for you. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? God is always moving forward, and He wants you to do the same. If you're too focused on what didn't work out, you might miss the new blessings that are right in front of you. Look at the story of Job. He was a man who loved God, but he went through a season of great loss. He lost his wealth, his health, and even his family. It seemed like his life was over. But Job didn't allow disappointment to define him. He remained faithful, kept trusting God, and in the end, God restored everything he lost and gave him twice as much as before. If Job had given up in the middle of his struggle, he would have missed out on the double portion that was waiting for him. The same is true for you. Just because you've had a setback doesn't mean your future is any less bright. Just because you've been through a tough season doesn't mean you've reached the end of your blessings. God has more in store, more joy, more success, more opportunities, more favor. You have not seen your greatest victories yet. The best days of your life are not behind you. They are still ahead of you. But to step into that future, you have to keep moving forward. You can't let disappointment cause you to settle. You can't let heartache make you give up on your dreams. God is not finished with you yet. He is preparing something greater than anything you have imagined. The right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings are already on their way. Keep believing, keep expecting, and keep trusting that God is working behind the scenes. What He has planned for your future will exceed your expectations. Stay in faith, stay hopeful, and get ready, because the best is yet to come.